and get started. So by all means, all attendees' microphones are currently muted. So if you have a question, please, by all means, use the chat box. And we will be able to ask Jesika questions. I could stop the presentation, or actually I'll just moderate it. Kathy and I can kind of keep an eye on that. And then we'll go from there. So with all means, Kathy, I'll go ahead and let you do the introductions.
All right, thanks, Nicole. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Glad you could join us today, and such a beautiful day that it is, absolutely. So if you've been following us for the previous weeks, you clearly know that we are in week number 3 already, and time is really going by quickly. And I hope that you are diligently working on your business plans, if that was your intention for following and taking this series. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and dive right in, because we do have a very special guest speaker with us today, Jesika Phillips of Now Marketing Group. And I want to be able to learn from her as well, and have the opportunity to hear what Jesika is going to share with us today. So as Nicole said, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box, or if you would like, we will certainly address all questions at the end of the presentation. So let me pull my screen up here. And we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so as you know, today's topic is about marketing and research. So we want to talk about testing your idea, doing all of your research and analysis to make sure, again, is this product something that is marketable, sellable, and is it going to do what your expectations are in terms of profitability in the market? So the traditional marketing definition is a process made up of these distinct functions. First, we have to determine what people want, and then we provide services or products to satisfy the want. Selecting the most effective means of reaching people with information about that product or service. So what avenue is best for your particular clients, and developing strategies for creating the desire for the product or service in the people who have not acted their want. In other words, there are people out there that we aren't even aware of that want our product or service. And so how do we develop that strategy so that they actually desire it and they want it from us, not necessarily just that product or service? So there's basically 3 parts to the marketing process. It's research, analysis, and strategies and tactics. There's some big words in there, but it's really very simple, and they're very easy processes. The P's of marketing that you through the research, analysis, and strategies include knowing your product and knowing it well, the price, promotion, placement, and then people. So typically we think there's 4 P's to marketing, but actually the people are also a very, very important part of your marketing. And so we'll talk about 5 of them today. So when we talk about research, we encourage you to study the industry, then study the customer, your competition, and your location. And then when it comes to analysis, analyze your research about the information you found in the industry, the customer, the competition, and location, and figure out what is your competitive advantage, and then build upon that. Know what you're going to do in order to gain more business than your competition. Determine the best methodologies for getting your goods and services to the market based on what you know about the analysis from your research and your competition. So don't just look at what you have in front of you now. but rather let's look at the consumer trends in the past 5 years in that particular industry. What has happened? What do we see happening? What were the changes in products or services? What about government regulations and tax issues? Changes in the price and cost of supplies? We all know that there's an industry that has a very big impact on what the changes in prices and cost of supplies are. And whether we realize it or not, that's fuel, because the cost of fuel is involved in many, many things through the manufacturing process. And I know personally, I've seen over the years, as the cost of gasoline and fuel rises and gets higher and higher, we see it in everything from building supplies to crafts to paper, everything, because it is one of the backbones of the way manufacturing works. And so those are all things to keep in mind and what has happened over the years. By doing your research, you will get a clear understanding of your industry. One good way to do this is to identify your trade association. Almost every type of product or service has some sort of trade association, and they typically are a wealth of information when it comes to doing your research. Sometimes it is a costly membership fee to it, but you don't always need to belong to get that information. It's amazing if you start Googling these trade associations, how many facts and figures you can garner by reading their articles, looking at their charts, again, just seeing things that they have released to the public. May not always necessarily be right in front of you, but by being consistent and doing your research, they're a very good resource for you. Obtaining the financial benchmarks. Again, the government, the Census Bureau, they track all of this type of information. Even more locally, Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services is beginning to do that a lot. And so they will look at about what is the profitability in this particular market. What has happened to it? Again, has it gone up? Is it on the decrease? And why is that happening? Then certainly identify your competitors. As we have mentioned in the previous weeks, if you have an online business or primarily online business, immediately when you open that website, you have competition globally. But realistically, if you are building relationships, some of them are going to be worldwide, but who are those people locally? And who are your competitors when it comes to them? And then obtain trade area information as well. So that would include things like, if you have a brick and mortar store, for instance, how likely are people to travel for a product or service of XYZ? We know that there is a big difference. Let's say in a bakery situation, as opposed to perhaps a hair salon. You know, we hear of people driving an hour and a half to their favorite hair salon, but on a regular basis, people are not likely to drive an hour and a half to get their morning donuts, right? All right, and so from that, then we draw industry conclusions. How is the industry developed? How do small businesses operate within the industry? The information that I referred to, typically you can even find what a typical model is for that particular segment of the industry. What are the current growth patterns in the industry? Again, is it something that's on the uptick, or is it something that's stagnant, or is it actually declining? And then we need to look at that and say, is that what I want? Do I want to be or decline, or something else? What is the industry's size right now? What are the projections for a year from now and 5 years from now? Again, we're trying to determine the trends. Are there any niche markets that are hot? I can think of a couple, as I'm sure you can as well. So can your product or service fit into that niche? How has in the past or will the international trade impact your industry? If you're looking to import or export, it could certainly have a very big effect. And again, we have seen that very recently as things have changed as well. And how will current and new government regulations impact the industry? That's kind of an unknown for us right now, right? Particularly with the COVID-19. We don't know from day to day or month to month what those regulations are going to be and how that might impact our particular industry. But we need to take those things into consideration as we're planning for the future. And how will technology impact your industry and the small businesses within it? And that is almost a given. It's going to have it has had and will continue to have a huge impact on all industries. So during market research, we have to learn who, how, where, what, when, why, and how often will our customers or clients be using our services or purchase what we have to offer. And that's difficult to do. So again, we're going to rely on those trends. Obviously, if you're selling cosmetics, you're going to sell a lot more often than if you're selling automobiles. And so those are all things to consider. Learn where they are and what they provide. Where can you find those? At the library, both online and offline. And if you haven't used your local library lately, I sincerely hope you will check them out soon. It is amazing what they can do. And again, due to technology, they can obtain information from you from all over the country. Trade associations, as I've already mentioned, state and federal resources, or local governments do the surveying. They have a lot of good publications for you. And don't discount our local economic development and chamber of commerce groups. If it, again, is a local, more of a local business that you're running, they certainly have a lot of statistics that can help you. And then quite frankly, just studying your competition. I don't want to become a stalker, but sometimes that's almost what it is like. You want to know what's happening. Again, if you have a brick and mortar store, when are their busiest times? How many people are going in there? How long are they staying? Those are all things that you can actually do by observation. Another thing that you can do for an online business, there's all kinds of statistics through search engines that you're able to capture. See how many people spend approximately how much time on a front page, for instance, or how far do they typically go? And then you want to say, boy, I really want them on my second page longer. How can I do that? Professional research companies, the US and state departments of commerce, and we have a service called SBDC Net, which is also a national service, and it will provide all kinds of demographics for your particular NAICS code in your industry. However, they are a small organization and they get lots of requests, so they're not always real timely. But even if you have gotten that information in the past or are interested in it, let me know and I will certainly contact them to get you what you need. So let's look at market analysis. That's a bunch. There's actually 4 parts to it. So we're going to determine the profile of our customer. We're going to determine the market size, which is the geographic size for our customers, and determining the numbers in your territory that fit your customer profile. We're going to determine the marketing potential for your business in your particular area. And did you know that impulse buys make up 68% of total sales? That number is very high. I knew it was high, but 68% is almost overwhelming, which means your marketing is absolutely important in gaining particularly new customers. So first, ask the simple questions. Who is your customer? Is it male, female? Could be both. Is it professional or blue collar? What are the age or ages? What is their income level? What neighborhoods do they live in? How do they buy? Do they buy on a weekly basis, a daily basis? Do they buy online? Do they prefer to walk in? Where do they shop? When do they shop? What days of the week is it? During what times? And where do they get their information? How do they know where to find the products and services that they are seeking. This is what we call demographics. So demographics or demographic data refers to a selected population characteristics as used in government, marketing, or opinion research, or the demographic profiles used in such research. This is hard data. These are things, again, that the Census Bureau, the Department of Commerce, the Ohio Development Services Agency, your local Chamber of Commerce, they have these numbers, hard data. That's the easy part. Then we get into the trickier part, and that's the psychographics. Just the sight of the word itself should tell you that becomes tricky, right? And it certainly does. But that deals with the more impulse buying. So you use the demographics to study and measure the attitudes, values, lifestyles, and opinions for marketing purposes. So these are the touchy-feely things. This is the soft data. What is it? What can I do so that I can create that impulse buy? So the hard data is the age, gender, location, education, occupation, income level, marital status, household types, and so on and so forth. Psychographics get into the needs and the values and the buying styles and their cultures and their interests. So we need to look at the psychographics of our market and figure out what it is that we can do to build a marketing plan that's going to appeal to them. We need to analyze our competition because you might learn more about what the customer really wants or what the customer doesn't want. You might discover that niche market, right? You could get some great ideas for marketing, merchandising, your product mix. So if you're selling one thing, let's look at when you go into a brick and mortar store. And boy, I'm just, as more and more goes through, they're using them all the time. But you go in for, let's say, a heating pad, and you come out, what happens at the checkout register? I don't care where you are. There's impulse items there, right? Whether it be magazines or mints or flashlights or whatever it is, those are impulse items. So what can you, in your major product, also make as an impulse item that would enhance what they have actually contacted you about? And you can obtain valuable advice, support, and information, particularly from remote or indirect competition. And again, indirect competition on the web is easily accessible. Indirect competition for a brick and mortar store is typically within 60 miles. Most business owners are happy to share their story with you if they're 60 to 90 miles away, but anything else may make them feel threatened and they may not be as willing to share. So you might discover those things, but you definitely will determine if you have any competitive advantages, and then you need to use those advantages to your benefit. So again, the product, the price, the promotion, the placement, and the people are the piece of marketing. And so what is marketing itself? Marketing is everything you do to promote your business, from the moment you conceive of it to the point at which your customers buy your product or service and they begin to patronize your business on a regular basis. I think that's very important. They begin to patronize your business on a regular basis. Then you know that your marketing is being effective. And so I'm going to ask you, the key words to remember are everything and regular basis. So you want to be consistent and you are marketing at all times, whether you think you are or you are not. If you represent that business, you are marketing, okay? So what do you sell? Do you sell a product or do you sell a service? And I'm sure we have a mixture of each. But actually, you sell neither. What you sell are the benefits. We buy as consumers because of the benefits. We aren't buying because it's a hair product. We're buying because that hair product is going to tame the mane. That is what we're doing, is we're buying the benefits. So we look at the features, the size, the quality, the varieties available, the types, and the materials used. But not only that, what will your product or service do for or give to your customer? Because you truly are selling the end benefits to them. So sell those benefits. Let them know what it's going to do for them. So quick overview of marketing. We have research for the industry information, the trends, and how your business fits into that. Analyze your customer, your competition, your trade area, your market size, and the market potential. And then the marketing plan includes positioning your product, location, packaging, distribution, pricing, and promotion. And I'll go back to location for a moment again. Even if we are an online business or primarily online business, what is one of the most important things we want to do? We want our business to pop up in the Google search, right? And so we want to look for search, engine search optimization. We want to be the first one that they see. And we also call that TOMA, top of the mind awareness. That's where you want to be with all of your customers throughout your entire industry, is when somebody says tax accounting, you want to be the top of the mind awareness. When I say hamburger, I'm sure somebody pops into all of your minds very quickly. Or when I say tires, there's somebody else, because those companies have gained the TOMA. And that's what I want you to strive for in your business. So when you're marketing your product, we want to look at the features and the benefits, which I can't stress enough. Also the life cycle and seasonality. If you have a seasonal product, perhaps we need to look at a little bit, going a little deeper into the market, or making a little broader our product lines, right? So we're not a seasonal. I'll give you an example of that. Lawn care businesses. If someone is working at lawn care services, that's typically a seasonal job. So how many times do you see them also go out and do snow removal, right? Makes a lot of sense. Or in the fall, they might do tree trimming. So they go beyond to make that year round. So I encourage you to look at that. What about packaging and labeling? Does it make a difference? Yes, it definitely does. And again, what is that product or service mix? Don't be too specific that you're only doing one thing. You certainly have the opportunity to find other areas, other niches in your market to attract more business. In the product, it's production positioning, packaging and label, and again, what is the product mix? So let's take a look at this graphic here. Looks like a beautiful gift, nicely wrapped. I'm going to imagine that that is a box of mixed chocolates under there. Happen to be kind of in the mood for some caramel chocolate today. So let's assume that's there. If my husband were to surprise me and bring that home for me today, or he brought me a bag of Hershey caramel, which do you think would excite me more? Now, granted, I'd be happy with either one, right? But certainly this beautifully wrapped box would attract me, excite me, and make me feel more special than if I got a bag of Hershey caramels. So understanding the features and benefits of your products or service, determining the product lines and appropriate mix, that's the depth and the width. So how many of them And how many of each do we carry? That's what we consider the depth and the width. Packaging and imaging your products in your business, and developing service enhancement. So what can you do? Perhaps you sell, let's say, watches in your business. What can you do so that you can develop a service enhancement? You're not only selling watches, but what else are you doing? Maybe you're replacing batteries. You're selling watch bands to go with it. You're selling designer bands rather than the standard ones that come with it. Those are all things we can do to develop our service enhancements. And then we want to definitely develop a company image and identity. The business name should reflect the nature of your business. So start there. So Joe's Accounting describes the business, but Joe and Associates leaves you guessing. So what are the associates about? We know Joe's Accounting does accounting, but Joe and Associates could be an attorney. It could be a CPA. It could be a lawn mowing service, right? All that tells us that Joe owns a business and he's got associates. So think about this. And the logo should be professionally designed to convey a desired identity. Use your logo consistently on all visual business items, business cards, letterhead if you use it, signage, advertising, all promotional materials. Be consistent with that logo. Again, we're trying to strive for something through our marketing efforts called TOMA. And the more people see that and it's consistent, it will become secondary with your name. For instance, we can look at golden arches in any way, shape, or form. Whether we're driving down the road, we see them on television, anything we see, and we immediately will think of McDonald's. That's right. And the signage lead the customer to your business. We want them to be able to find you. And so once they get there, make sure that your buildings are clean, safe, and inviting to them. That's important if you want to build a customer base. Some very simple customer service essentials. Welcome customers to your business. Thank your customers for coming to you. We have lots of choices to make these days. And I really do appreciate when someone says, thank you for choosing us today, because you're right. I could have chosen your competition. Educate your customers about your products and service. And in order to do that, what's that mean? You have to fully understand your products and services. Answer questions for them, or find the answers to those that you don't know. And what a better way to say, you know, that's a very good question. I'm not really sure, but if you want to leave me your email address or your phone number, I can shoot you a text with that answer, and then that does something else. That gives you a contact for them. And then when you promise to do that promptly, please. That is so important that you follow up very promptly with them. Develop and implement customer retention strategies. So I just said that, getting the contact information. That's critical. Any way that you can do that. If it's a giveaway or a sign up, or you see it on Facebook pages, you know, like our page, well then guess what? Boom, you're connected immediately for future contact. And keep in mind that the customer may not always be right. Like the old adage says, the customer is always right. Well, maybe not, but he or she is still always your customer. And they do have a choice. And so treat them with respect. So how will you sell your products or services? What will your distribution system be? How will you conduct public relations and networking activities, which is a huge and inexpensive part of your advertising and marketing? And how will you advertise? So we've learned there's a difference between marketing and advertising, right? Marketing is everything you do from the moment you conceive your product until it's in the hands of your customer. Advertising is a form of getting the word out. There is a difference. How will you serve the customer? To a small business, promotion and advertising is a very critical part of communicating with the customer. By keeping in touch through promotion tactics, you will be stimulating demand for your products reinforcing to the business and letting them know why they should buy from you. Again, consistently doing that and getting something that you're comfortable with upfront is very, very important. Public relations and advertising are, again, two different things. Public relations is basically advertising without paid advertising. That might be through press releases. It might be sponsoring events. And typically those will come with a cost. However, it isn't a direct cost to that customer. Drawings, contests, giveaways, like I said, speaking as a guest expert, participating in community organizations is very important, because through all of this, you are networking. And networking is your best form of advertising. You know, they say one happy customer tells 5, but one disappointed or angry customer tells 10. And it's much, much easier, as we've discussed before, to keep the customers, to maintain them and grow them, than it is to attract new ones. And so that's how you can do that as well. So for effective advertising, we need to know, who are we advertising to? Make sure it's the right audience. Are we sending the right message that we want for them? Is the timing right? Is it the right place? In other words, where do they find that information? And are we using the right budget? Okay, are we spending enough? Are we spending too much? How much can we afford to spend? That's why it's so important that you kind of do the back end first, and you know exactly who that right audience is, and that you work to make sure you're getting the right message, and the rest then will fall in place. So here's just a couple funny little bloopers I'm going to ask you to take a minute and run through, and I hope it'll bring a smile to your face. As you can see, they all have a double meaning there, and so it depends on how you interpret them. And so therefore, it's very important that you're getting the right message out. Number 5, wow, for sale antique desk suitable for a lady with thick legs and large drawers. I'm running. I'm never going to buy that thing because I don't want to admit that I'm that lady. All right. So the following list is made up of various ways in which your business can be promoted. The logo, which we talked about, very, very important. Signs, okay? If you can afford to have a professional looking sign made. I will also suggest to you that you look at magnetic signs for your vehicle. It's like a moving billboard. Think how many times you were beside a vehicle that had some sort of a sign or a vinyl lettering or something on it advertising their business, and it caught your eye, didn't it? That's what it's intended to do. It does work. Word of mouth, like I said, the best and least expensive is through word of mouth. So send thank you notes to someone if they are recommended to you by someone else. Always ask for suggestions from your customers on how you might better serve them. It's amazing what you might learn from them, and things that you may have done at one time, and then oops, we might have got a little complacent and they no longer were available to us. Mail, whether it's email, direct mail, whatever it is, it's directly in front of the people. And if they don't see it right this minute, they may see it a little bit later. And publicities, talk to your local newspaper, radio, and television stations, doing grand that is unique. It's free advertising that can draw a lot of attention. And I will say this, there are many shows on the local television, and you see them all the time from business professionals. So if you have something creative or something really unique, give them a shot. You never know when it might be a slow news day, as they said, and your turn will be up. And then, of course, specialty advertising, if you can afford to do that, when something is in someone's hands, when they're using it, particularly when it's something practical that's going to be kept around for a while. That continues to be a constant reminder in front of them. And team sponsorships and community activities. Who doesn't love it when you're giving back to the community and helping little Johnny or Susie achieve the goals that they have? And mom and dad notice that, and so do grandpa and grandmas and everybody else that's out there and involved in those activities. There are multiple sources of social media that you can reach your customers immediately. And this is just a short list, some of which I have never even heard of. And of course, our professional in that area will be speaking to us here very shortly. And that is Jesika Phillips. And if you can, take the time or need the time to keep up with these. I mean, obviously, these are basically relatively inexpensive, but I think that that's one of the problems that we have is managing that social media. Who does it and who does it well, who within our staff can do that. And quite honestly, I'm of the opinion that if you're not going to use it correctly and you're not going to keep up with it, it can do you more harm than good to have outdated information on your social media page. So there are only a few methods of promotion. Be creative and use your imagination. Remember to always keep an eye on your competitors' activities. And you don't want to copy your competition, but you do want to stay one step ahead of them. So by studying them, keep an eye on them, being aware of what they're doing, that gives you the opportunity to stay one step ahead of them. And remember that there are basically 3 keys to business success, and that's location, location, location. And I'm not talking a physical location. I'm talking about locating your business so it's seen by your target market at the right time. It's all about location. And with that, that brings us to your homework. Business plan section 5. That is the marketing strategies. You should be hopefully up to that and working. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. At this time, Nicole, I think we got just a couple of minutes. And if you will let me know if there's anybody in the chat box, that would be wonderful. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I'll try to address them before we lose our train of thought and get into the good stuff with Jesika.
Okay, so far we don't have any questions. Kathy, you did such an amazing job. That is a lot of information. I think they're just soaking it all in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I want to thank Nicole for recording these and sending them out. Hopefully you've had a chance to go back and maybe review, because we are covering them quickly. Remember, we did this as an expedited class for your benefit. So anyway, thanks again for joining me. I am pleased to have Jesika with us today. And Nicole, I'll flip it back to you to introduce our guest today, please.
Okay, so as you know, we would like to introduce Jesika Phillips. She is the president of Now Marketing Group, and she is here to talk to us about social media strategies. And Jesika, you are free to take it from here and share your screen.
All right, thank you so much. And before I share my screen, I just wanted to give a shout out to Kathy and a few things that she said that's super important as you start thinking about marketing your business and just creating your business plan. She first shared the idea of just staying top of mind, which is so important today, and just taking a step further of staying top of mind. You know, as she said, looking at your competitors and what they're doing really well. And there's definitely enough business out there for all of us. And the key is, because there's so many options, thinking of how you're going to stay top of mind in what you do. So like, for example, if we're thinking cleaning products, majority of people think like Clorox top of mind, but because we're have this access to information more than ever before, and companies are sharing kind of more holistic and healthy ways of getting cleaning products, many people will be searching for things that mean something to them and how they want to clean. So think about how you're going to use that to your advantage. And looking at trends is also super important. There's another resource online. Kathy shared several great ones, but you can look at google.com/trends, which I'll put in the chat when I'm done, to let you know what really easy access you can have to see trends that are happening online. And just to let you know, with online marketing, in the past 8 weeks, e-commerce, so sales that have been happening online, has done more business in the last 8 weeks than has been done in the past 10 years, which is huge. So just think about that. The other last point I want to make, and Nicole, I'm just going to let you know, I don't have the ability to share my screen yet. So if you can give me that ability while I'm sharing this last point, then that would be great. What Kathy talked about, keeping your customers is more important and less expensive than you to get a new customer is so crucial. And just to add on to that, it said that the first 100 days that a person has with you, so your customers have with you, is when this buyer's remorse sometimes can happen, or when they start questioning their mind. And every time you're not in contact with them, so once a month, if you're not in contact with them, you lose 10% of your relationship with them. So staying in contact with them through email marketing, or even sending them a card or anything in the mail is super helpful as well for you to maintain that relationship with your clients and customers. Another great way to do that is social media, and we're going to talk about how you can use that, some advanced things that you can do on social, specifically on Facebook. So I'm going to share my screen here and dive in. One moment here. Can you see my screen okay, first of all?
Yes.
Okay, so just a little bit about me. They did a quick intro, but I'm the owner of Now Marketing Group here in Elida, Ohio. My personal mission is to inspire people to love more, give more, be more within their business through authentic relating. So that connection to your customers on a meaningful level that's going to allow them to choose you again and again. And been able to work with Forbes and Inc. and do social media for NASA, some really cool things, but just being right here in, Allen County, which has been cool. And that just shows kind of the power of online marketing. But today we're really going to talk about social, and most specifically Facebook. So I'm going to give you some really great ways that you can use your Facebook page, and that's kind of like the standard that people look to first for every business, no matter if you're B2B or B2C or what kind of business you are. Facebook is a great way to start. There's definitely some other social networks that are very effective, like LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, and you've seen some of the links that Kathy had shared, but 74%, and now that number is growing, of the world's population is on social media, so it's a great way for you to connect with your customers. We do even a social media conference here called Social Media Week Lima, so if there's some things you learn here, definitely would invite you to that event here locally, and we have a special offer just to give you kind of access to that to learn even more on social. But my goal is to help you become a magnet with your marketing versus a bullhorn. So as Kathy said, there's a difference between marketing and advertising. The key is to get your clients that want to stick with you like a magnet. So it's really attracting your ideal audience and allowing them not only to connect with you online, but to stick with you. And one of the cool ways of doing that is Facebook, because that's that kind of what I like to call sit down restaurant. It's the place where they're going to hang out with you, kind of kick their shoes off and be more comfortable with your business, learn a lot more about you, and your ideal audience is going to share your content if they're connected with you in a meaningful way. So if you don't have a Facebook page created already, you can go to facebook.com/pages and start one there. I'm not going to go through each of those steps because my goal, it's very self-explanatory to kind of get that page created, and I can provide a YouTube video to kind of walk you through that process if you don't have one already. But my goal is to show you some of the advanced features that you can use on your Facebook page. It's really going to help you stand out amongst the competition. Now, if you don't have this new layout, just a heads up, this is what the new Facebook layout for business pages in all pages are going to look like. And I'm going to just walk you through a few of the settings that you can really stand out on Facebook. So we're going to walk through, I'm actually going to bring back up my slide here, but we're going to walk through just your business settings. We're also going to walk through how you can use some free tools like Facebook Messenger that will create a chat on your website, which I'll show you what that looks like. Facebook Jobs, so when you start hiring. Facebook Offers to put out promotional material, your advertisements there that goes out to an expanded audience, as well as some publishing tools that you can do for free on Facebook. So let's see here. Let's go back to the Facebook page. So starting out with your Facebook page, most often businesses will create a Facebook page, but they kind of forget to go through and kind of finish it up, if you will. So the most important thing if you have a Facebook page is to start with your settings. Facebook changes all the time, and they've changed a lot, even in the past year, and what they've allowed business pages to do. So if you've created a Facebook page a while ago, I encourage you to go back to your settings first and start there and just see what your settings have to say on your page, because sometimes this is just a little tweak that can make a big difference and be the difference that is allowing people to tag your business, maybe if they visited there, or upload a photo and mention your business, things like that that could really expand your reach. And we really want that to be turned on. So the very first thing is just the page visibility. That's just if, for example, you're creating a new Facebook page, maybe your business isn't launched yet, maybe you're working with Kathy and you're waiting to get everything set up, but you want to get this created, you could actually put your page to unpublished. It does not delete your page, but it hides it from people finding it yet if you're not ready to kind of share that with the world, so to speak. The next one is just visitor post, and this is going to allow anyone else to be able to comment on your page. Social media is just that, it's social, so I highly encourage you to have this turned on because you want people to be able to have a conversation on your page and start a conversation with you. And I'm going to go through some of these settings quickly to get to the good stuff. So if you do have a question, please pop in the chat and let me know, and I will slow down and revisit it. But the next setting is post and story sharing. So if you're not familiar, Facebook has kind of two different ways of sharing content. They have it via sharing a post, whether that's on your business page, a personal page, or in a group. And then they also have what's called stories. Stories are snippets of content, whether that be video or a post, that lives for only 24 hours. Now, Facebook is expanding that to live for 3 days coming soon, but right now it only lives for 24 hours. So if you actually go to Facebook, you'll notice the stories that will live at the top of your newsfeed there, typically in circles, and it just allows you to play different stories here. This is where a majority of people are going to be watching their content. You have a better chance of showing up in the story than you do in someone's newsfeed. So I highly encourage you to use this feature and have it turned on your business page. The reason being is, again, it's going to be more visibility, and a lot of times it allows for more engagement by your audience. Notice the different format of the photos that are shared there, though, so you want to make sure that your image does look appropriate within that story sharing. So if you allow this to be turned on here, then you can allow people also be able to share your stories and events and allow others to be able to interact with that. So make sure that those settings are turned on. The next is optimization. So this is just saying, hey, if you tell Facebook your audience, do you allow them to optimize it to ensure that the right people are seeing your content? So I just put this in here for my page, and it could be really important for your pages as well. If you submit to Facebook, hey, I'm looking for people in this area with these kinds of features and who we're looking for, like Kathy was sharing about your demographics, then Facebook will say, okay, if we're going to show you in the newsfeed, it would show you to these individuals, because Facebook shows your content most often to the people that are most likely to engage with it. And when those people engage with your content, it's going to show it to even more people. So you want to give yourself the best chance as possible to get in that engagement. The next is a really important one, which is allowing people to message into your page. This is a great way of starting those conversations with your audience and them to be able to message in questions and things like that that they have with your page. And I'm going to show you some really cool advanced features that you can do with this that is really going to help your business with not only marketing, but client and customer retention, as well with helping you with sales. The other one is allowing people to tag your page. So that's mentioning you from their page or another personal or business page there to let people kind of click that link to see who they're talking about. Page location for events. So this is if you have an event that you're hosting and you want to upload a specific frame for the stories or the photos that people can use, you can turn that on. Country restrictions. So this is if you are only operating, let's just say in the United States, then you can say only show it to these specific countries. That's something just depends on your business. The other one, the page moderation and the profanity filter is very similar, but the profanity filter, you can have it set to strong. That way, if somebody's going to comment, what happens if they comment with a word that's considered profanity, the post would be, or the comment rather, would be hidden to everyone except the administrator of the page, and then they have a chance to kind of review that comment before it shows to everyone. So it's just kind of a safety measure for your page if you want to turn this on. Now it does get very specific, like even if somebody's used the word hell or something like that, you would have to then approve that comment, but it's kind of to be rather safe than sorry, if you will. This is allowing your page to be referred to others like yours. So for example, if somebody likes a page from their profile that is like social media related, for example, our page might show up if we have this clicked as other pages suggested to that person that they may enjoy. So it's not going to hurt you in any way to show up. So I recommend that you have that checked as well. Post in multiple languages. So this is if you want someone as administrator on your page to be able to post in another language. We don't have that in our office where we just work with English speaking clients because we don't, I took 3 years of Spanish in high school and can't remember any of it. So I don't want anyone to be able to post and me not be able to respond back. But you can have it where if comments were made in another language, that it's translated for those individuals. And that's even English. So for example, if somebody's making a comment in English, but their settings on their personal page are set to Spanish, for example, they could translate the English version of the comments to Spanish. So that's perfectly fine. Comment ranking, this is just a setting that's going to allow your page, so if somebody's making a comment, instead of it being in chronological order, it's going to show the most relevant or most engaged with comment first. So you can choose how you'd like this to be ranked here. Content distribution, so can someone take a video that's published on your Facebook page and download it, or a photo? You can choose if you want that to be blocked. We have this blocked for several clients, for example, that they don't want this feature on. They have it prohibited because they're taking maybe photos that are that are specific to their industry, and they don't want anyone else to be able to use it. So it's proprietary information, for example. So you could turn this on or off. Download page, this just allows you to literally download all the content that's been on your page. If you've accidentally created a Facebook page before and then you created a new one that has some engagement, you could merge your pages here. And what that allows you to do is actually keep the fans that have liked the other page and even some of the content, and it would merge your pages together. So you only have one out there, not being confusing to anyone else. And then you could remove this page or delete it by this setting. So if you've created that old one and maybe you don't want to merge it, maybe it's not the business name anymore or something else, and you don't want it out there distracting someone, you could go to this setting and delete it. So these are the first settings that you want to make sure that your page has. So I went through those pretty quickly, but it's just a kind of an audit, if you will, of your Facebook page. Now I want to go through the good stuff that's really going to help your page stand out. The very first thing is your page info. So often I see business pages that are created and they haven't taken the time to actually set up their information or their about section on the page. That really helps in people being able to find you both on Google as well as when they're searching on Facebook. So the very first thing is, of course, hopefully you'd have your name here and a description about you, but the username is very important, because if someone's going to tag you in a post and they hit the @ sign to mention you, this needs to be filled out so they could actually tag you. So you want to make it something short. Facebook actually, won't let you have it above so many characters, but it'll also tell you if that name's available. And then this is what you would mark it when you're talking about your Facebook page, because this is what you would come up as on Facebook. The other way of you coming up is, of course, by your description, but then the categories that you set up for Facebook to organize your page. It's very much kind of like Google now, where if somebody's searching for something, they would ask, okay, is this a tax office? Is this a car dealership? Is this an attorney? What is it? And this is some areas where they can organize you into those categories to help you come up faster in the results. Now, I will give you a heads up, they're limited on some of the categories right now. So you do the best, closest category that you can find. And the good thing about it is Facebook is releasing new categories all the time, and they give your page a heads up when they do that. So if there's a new category that comes out that they let you know about, you can always update this. And then, of course, your contact information, your location, as well as your service areas. Now, if you can service anywhere in the United States, for example, you could leave this blank. But then your hours of operation. This is a big one because this also integrates with Google My Business, and you want to make sure these match together, because if your hours are wrong, and even holiday hours, for example, you want to make sure that this is updated, because it's going to give someone a bad experience if they think you're open and you're not. Or even like during the COVID times, maybe you're working remote, things like that. You want to make sure that you have this information updated. It's super easy to do so. Just update it, and then you save your results. So those two are just the bare bones basics. The next thing is having your page stand out. Not many people know about Facebook and them having templates that you have different than categories. I'm going to open up the page here so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's bring up. That's cute. Let's see if that's their page name here. Okay, so for example, as you can see on this Facebook page, they have a shop tab on here. Now, many of these tabs don't automatically come with your bare bones basic Facebook page when you're creating it. So what you want to do is go to your templates and tab section, and you can edit this template and choose what type of page that you are, first of all, and then Facebook will give you a recommendation based on what you've told them already, but then you can choose to turn on or off other tabs, as well as organize them in the way that you want them to show up on your page. So you can drag and drop them around in order of how you want somebody to experience your page. Like if I'm viewing this as a visitor here, I can choose what I want to show as like my primary tabs, and like the button here, for example, which I'll show you how to customize that. But this is really important because this is going to give you access to all the features that Facebook has that maybe you're like, hey, I see that there are people are posting jobs on Facebook, but I don't have that tab to do that. Why is that? It's most likely because you don't have this turned on. So turning these tabs on are going to give you access to a lot more features that Facebook has, and be able to promote your business in a new way. Okay, moving down this list here. So templates and tabs, of course, like I said, it's going to give you access to these additional tabs. I want to show you, exit the view as a visitor. Once you've chosen your templates and tabs, of course, they're going to allow you now to edit this call to action button that really stands out not only when people are visiting your page as a visitor, but even when they're going to like it, it's going to still have a call to action button as it shows up in the newsfeed. So this call to action button, you can edit this button to be whatever you want, essentially. So it could be message into the page, visit our website, buy a gift card right now, order food, get a quote from us, call us, whatever quick link that you think is going to be the most effective for your business. You can make that a quick action button right there on your page for free. But most often I see a lot of business pages, when they create it, they don't put anything there, and then it's kind of like an empty section then where you don't get to take advantage of that. So setting that up is super important. The next section is advanced messaging. So if you've not been familiar with Facebook messaging into your business page, so I'm going to show you this from a page that I have open here. If you've not been familiar with this in the business page section, Facebook allows you to have some really, really amazing access with your customers from your business. So let me get into the messaging section here called the inbox. And then I'm going to show you some advanced settings that you can set up. So in the inbox here, for example, somebody is messaging in. Now, the more messages, the better into your inbox, and here's why. Facebook says, Mark Zuckerberg has said, the future of social is private, meaning it's going to be smaller niche conversations, a lot of which that are starting in the inbox. And by having your customers and clients message into your page, it's a really good thing, because not only now do you have the data on these customers more so than you would if they just liked your page, but now you have access to send them in future your newsletters, your special offers, targeting them in your ads, everything. And Facebook has really built in almost a mini CRM, customer relationship manager, right in here to the Facebook page. As soon as someone messages in, you're able to add details about this customer. So maybe it's like, hey, this woman was interested in X service, and I want to follow up with her. I can put a label here, so you can set up labels as maybe a potential customer, what have you. And then you can set up even reminders for yourself. You can, flag this, mark this as unread, read. You have a lot of ability right here. You can send them specific products if you have it added to your page. You can send them back money for like a refund, for example. You can send attachments here, which you can't do on your page. You could do a lot of things right here from this messaging section. So it's a really great way of staying in contact with your customer. So going from here, let's see if I can move this window out of my way here. Okay, going back to the advanced messaging section. So this advanced messaging section allows you to set up more responses to the messages that you can send. And what I mean by that is not only can you connect different applications that allow you to monitor your conversations into like a CRM that you have, maybe you have a different one that you're using, you can connect that here. But what it also allows you to do is set up to where you can have a chat bot on your website for free. And let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to show you into my Facebook page how that was set up. And this is a free chat that allows you to use this directly from your Facebook page and on your website. So let me show you first what it looks like. Okay, so for example, if you go to my website, it would start off with a custom message, and someone can respond back, and it's going to send me not only a text because I have it set up, but it's also going to show up in my Facebook messaging inbox. Now you can even set it up to prompt someone with, hey, are you looking for a specific product? See our top product lines. Are you in need of help with the PPP program? Maybe if you're an accountant, for example, whatever you want to do there, you can set up that message to greet people in a certain way. So let me get back to this advanced messaging, and I'll show you how this one has been set up. So the first is setting up what domains that you want this messaging to be set up on. Right, I'm actually not going to go into the protocol first here. The other is if you want your messaging, let me go back here, sorry, settings. Here we go. Okay, so this first part is how you get it started. So if you go to the Add Messenger to your website and click Get Started, it's going to take you through the very first steps of getting this on to your site, and then I'll show you some of the advanced things that you can do. So you simply click Next, and then you can change the greeting that you want to say to someone as soon as they get onto your site. After that, you can click Next. You can choose the color that you want the pop-up window to be, or you can just leave it the Facebook colors there, and then you click Next. You can also put your domains that you want this to show up on here. And you can take this script right here and you can email it or just copy this right here and send it to your web developer. Super easy for them to add, just like they would like a Google Analytics. It takes less than 5 minutes to get onto your website, and then you have a custom chat on your website. It'll also create a messenger link for you. So maybe it's in, that you want to send this out on a card, or maybe create a QR code for it and say, in any of your promotions to start a conversation or message you about maybe an event or something that you're having, you can copy that code there. You can also create automatic responses. And I should mention that this chat will only show up for conversation when you have your Facebook hours set up on Facebook, or what hours that you want to receive these messages. So if you aren't available, let's say it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're asleep, somebody messages in, it will give them that you're out of the office, and you'll get back with them as soon as you are in the office, and I'll show them your hours. Okay. You can set up automated responses here. So if you do want to change up to say, hey, I want to show my contact information, I want to show, I want to show our hours of operation, whatever you want, you can add in your customized responses here. And you can say, what time that you want these to start for your away messages, things like that. So you would simply just slide it on and then hit that edit. Let me cancel out of this one first. You would just slide that on and then cancel, click the edit and then customize that message. So even if you're setting up appointments, by the way, if you have that as one of the tabs that are on your Facebook page, Facebook will allow you to link that to your Google or iCalendar. Somebody can set up appointments through you, and you can set up reminders that would automatically send them that appointment reminder or appointment follow-up. So a really cool way of setting up automated messages. I do have a full video that is an hour long that literally just goes through this part of it. If you're interested in that, I'll give that to Kathy, because it also then goes through the advanced messaging and how you can set up almost like a chatbot on your website to answer frequently asked questions that people type in. Now, granted, you do want to be able to provide a human response. You don't want just, the automated messaging. It can be annoying, but it is nice for frequently asked questions, and people don't mind, just getting, if they're clicking a question, getting that answer. And at any time you see every single response, and you can always jump in and not be part of that, not have just the robot take over, if you will. The other quick things I wanted to show you on here as it relates to the settings tab before we dive into the good stuff, I know we don't have a lot of time, but is the page rules. So when you're creating your Facebook page, you want to make sure that you have an additional person that is on your page to manage your Facebook page in case you have been locked out or anything like that, that you have someone else that can manage your page for you. And let's see if it'll reload for me here. The page rules is just allowing another person to be able to perform an action on your page as your business. There's different rules that you can give the person, whether that's an administrator, which gives them full access to everything, an editor that's just going to allow them to post on your behalf, a moderator that's just going to allow them to comment back to comments that are there, an advertiser that's just going to allow them to post ads for you on your behalf, analyst that's just going to give them access to your insights and what's happening on your page, or you can give them a custom access here. So most of the time people are giving people editor access. That's going to be the easiest if you have someone else managing it, or you can give them an admin role, depending on what you would like this person to do. But all you would do is just simply type in their name. So if I were to type in, let's say Nicole here, and then I would click add, it's going to ask for a password, and that password is the password that I use to personally get into my personal page. The same would be true for you. That would send them a notification to be added to that page. Okay, I talked briefly on that page preferred audience. So Facebook, if you click here, it's going to show you where they move this to. You can click here and set that up for yourself. Connecting your Instagram account to your page here. This is if you want to set up any kind of advertisement, you want it to go on Instagram as well as your page, as well as connect the two together. Especially this is important with stories. If you want to share a story on Instagram, as well as it show up on Facebook, you can do this. I definitely don't recommend posting all of your content on Instagram and Facebook, like the same content, because it's two different audiences usually, but at least you can connect your Instagram account here to really connect the data as well as the inbox.
Hey, Jessica.
Yeah.
We have a question. Someone has asked if Facebook is more important than your own website.
No. Your website is your home base. It'll always be the most important. Sales happen on your website. Facebook is the page that allows you to stay connected with your audience and build and nurture relationships there. It can help bring awareness, but the sales will always and should happen on your home base of your website. The website's the thing that you can control as well as Facebook. It's becoming more and more people there. It's really hard to show up in the newsfeed because people aren't necessarily just going to your page, right? They spend the majority of their day right here, which is this home page. And if you go through a homepage of Facebook, it's really hard to see companies unless they're advertising here. So you want to make sure that you are using your website and really growing with search engine optimization and all of that, and using Facebook to build your community. But many people do start out with just a Facebook page. That's okay. But I highly recommend having a website as your home base because you own it. You can control it a lot more than what you can do on Facebook. Facebook owns, oops, sorry. What was that? Okay. Facebook owns Instagram and WhatsApp. WhatsApp is growing. It's super popular. So that can be its own session, but it's super important if you've created a WhatsApp account that you can integrate that with your Facebook page as well. So they're all integrated together. And all of these do show up on your Google results. When somebody is searching for your page, the Google My Business, it shows what else that you're featured on there. The other, there are a few other tabs here that won't necessarily go through all of them right now, but I will go through the most important. The one is the page support inbox. If you ever have an issue with your Facebook page, there is a support inbox that you have access to, so you can follow and file a support ticket right here with Facebook. And a lot of it is automated. However, if you don't get the answer from like their community, you will get a representative that will respond to you. It's not as timely as we always like it, but it's good. What's that?
I apologize for interrupting again. We do have another question. Yeah. And the question is, what do they do if a competitor is looking into their social media and copying their ideas?
So it depends what you mean by copying your ideas. So if they are copying as far as like the exact copy that you're using, or if they're copying and just kind of having the same style or what, like if they're copying your images or anything like that, you can always go to the post click the three dots and then report it. You could also message into them. That's always like the best method, is just messaging them directly and saying, hey, they say imitation is the best form of flattery, but not feeling super flattered right now. And try to work it out with them and just let them know that you notice that. But if it is a direct copy of your content, then report it. If it is a direct copy or stealing of your material, then you can file that as well. And typically that's a big fine of somebody stealing images. You never want to steal an image off Google or from anyone else, because that could be a
yeah, I definitely think that it's probably more image and product development in this case scenario.
Yeah. So a big thing is then, like where I showed in the settings, to not allow people to download your images from Facebook. We've had that with several clients that work in manufacturing, and they have images of like aftermarket parts and stuff that they've spent the money on creating those images, and others have tried to use those images and take it, where you could just remove to where people can't download those images from you. But if you see that it's happening, definitely report it. Like, again, click the three dots here and you can report the post, right? So you want to make sure that you're reporting it and then giving an explanation as to why you're reporting
Great information. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so moving into some of the good stuff. And remind me again, how much time do we have here? How much time do I have?
We are done at 6.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so here when you are posting, so we talked about the settings, right? So now I want to get into some advanced things that you can do through posting. And Facebook has moved a lot of this ability where you used to just, create a post here and publish it. Now, if you're wanting to schedule a post or publish something different, you're actually going to go to what's called their Creator Studio. And this will, if you click Publishing Post on the left of your page, it will direct you to what's called the Creator Studio, where now you can create a piece of content right here, and it will allow you to, of course, schedule it, share it now, or schedule it for later, and choose how you want it to show up. But there's a few other, these are, of course, the backgrounds. And if you want to get a message, remember I said, like, starting the conversation is good. You can always put get messages after that post. So if you're talking about something, you put your content in first and then click get message, and it'll show up that send a message at the bottom of your post, whatever you're posting about, which is a cool way if you're talking about a product or service, and then you say, hey, we're having an open house about this time and blah, blah, blah. And then you have the send message, then people can ask and direct in a question back to you right away without having to click back to your page and then click, send a message. So it's a great way not only to get the engagement of your audience, but Facebook also gives priority to people that are adding things like this to your post versus just sharing like a link that's going to try to take somebody out of Facebook. Their big goal is keeping people natively in their platform. So it's a great way of being able to add just something quickly here to get that engagement. The other thing I want to show is the offer. So if you've not used Facebook offers before, this is a free service by Facebook. And where this shows up, let me go back to the page here, or the main homepage here of Facebook, is in Facebook offers. And let's make sure I don't, right here. Okay, so Facebook offers, not only will it show up in the news feed for everyone, but it also shows up in just this offer section. So like if somebody's visiting Marketplace or offers, Facebook promotes a section to them, it's going to show you the offers that people around you have and what they're giving away, okay, or what their special discount is, right, and who the business is. So they can either have get offer or like a call now, get directions, that kind of thing. That's the call to action with it. And you can create this for your business as well. So when you click to create an offer out of the Creator Studio, you would first put a photo in here, and then you would choose what your offer is about. Now, some of these that I've seen here are kind of like bad practices. It's basically like there's no kind of copy here. Granted, it says 5% off yards. And then it's like, get directions that, like, what am I going to drive there to your business? And to get my special offer, like, I don't recommend doing that. No offense to whoever this is. But you don't want to use it for that. You want to be specific on what you're offering, and what the discount is, or buy one, get one, or you can, offer free shipping, customize. I mean, they give you kind of sky's the limit there. You put what your offer is, and then specify the copy here. So this copy is what's going to show up in the post, and it'll give you kind of a sample of what it would look like on the right-hand side. Once you get this created, you can put more of a description here. Okay. And then you choose when you want it to expire. So you can have this go on for a while, or you can create some urgency and create it maybe to the end of the month. And then you can always renew these offers. So you don't have to just create it, forever. You can create some urgency, maybe giving it like a 30-day thing or a week, whatever. You choose whether it's an online offer, an in-store offer. And if they need some kind of promo code, right, to use it, if it's like an online thing. And then what you want to give them as the action. So that's where you're seeing like a lot of those get directions. I don't recommend get directions unless it's a brick and like they're going in to shop with you specifically at that moment. And the reason why, I mean, they can still see the directions, right? But the easiest thing for them to do, maybe they're not going there right today, so they don't want to click get directions and then they're not going there. They're going to forget about it. I would really leave it on the save or the shop now, or like a send a message, these, or a call now even. Like any of those actions that are going to make it easier for them to get to. The great thing about leaving it as save or shop, or even a shop now, is the save will remind them that they've saved this offer for as long as you have it going on. So it's going to give them more reminders that they have this offer until they use it. And as soon as somebody clicks to get an offer, what happens is it sends them an inbox into their Facebook page. It also sends the admin of the Facebook page, so you as the manager of your page, a message letting you know somebody's claimed this offer. So it's a great way to promote your business. We've used this for several things for clients, from everything from small items to large, whether they're shopping online or it's just an in-store offer. It's a great way to get people to unlock a special that you have. It will show up on your page. So just make sure that you're aware of that. It would show up on your page. So if you're promoting something that maybe your current customers or your current clients would be like, hey, why didn't I get that kind of thing, right? It would show up on your page. It'll also show up in the offer section and then the Facebook news feed. But it's a great way of promoting something big that you have going on. Okay, let's cancel out of this. And I'm going to talk about another way of creating a post, and this is for jobs. So if you're ever hiring, this is a great free tool, again, by Facebook, and it's very similar to offers, because not only is it going to show up on your page in the newsfeed section, but it'll also show up in what's called the Facebook jobs section here. Hopefully I don't miss it. Good. Okay, so the job section here, which anyone can search, like if they're looking for, let's say I'm looking for a full-time position, even if you're looking for volunteers for an event, by the way, or an intern, people that are would be an intern for you. And let's say I'm looking for one in construction here. It's going to show me, and I can change my miles around here, all the jobs that are available for me in this section. And people use this all the time. We've hired several team members, even through Facebook, because it sends them messages and reminds them of jobs that are available to them in their area. So it's a great way of like keeping them informed of what there is. So to use this, you simply just put your job title, automatically pull in your address for your business that you have there. The salary, you can choose per hour, per day, per week, per year. what type of employment you're looking for. So again, if you're just looking for someone to do a contract for you or an internship or a volunteer, you can even put that. So we've even, use it for volunteers for an event that we're doing, right? You put the description here. And here's the biggest thing that I would recommend doing is adding a question, an extra question in here, because it's super easy for people to apply on Facebook. They can hit one button and it sends their Facebook profile to this job to apply. But if you had a free text question or whatever, yes, no, even question, like, do you have a driver's license? Do you have reliable transportation of your own? Why do you want to work here, for example? It's going to allow them the opportunity to answer that question and then give you more of an insight of who you would be hiring. So you can add a few questions here. I think Facebook allows you 3 questions to ask. You can change your photo out here so it's maybe more appealing for and stands out for that job. You can say where you want the applications to be sent. So this would be like to you, for example, if you want them to be sent to you. But the other places that they would go is into your Facebook inbox. So I'm not going to show like all the people that applied, but into your, if you go to your inbox section here, you can actually sort your messages by people that have applied for a job. So for here, for example, you can sort, all your main inbox. But if you've tagged any of them with your labels, you can sort by your labels there. So if you go to Messenger here, you can sort by the labels that you have. I don't have any of these labeled right now, but that, as well as when you get to the Creator Studio here, get out of this section, after you put all your questions in there, when you get into your Creator Studio, you'll be able to go to any of your tools here for your messaging. Inbox. And this is another way to filter, and it gives you even more access to assign this to maybe someone else on your team here. So I highly recommend, I know we don't have enough time today to play around and look at what's all available in your creative studio here, because they give you a ton of access to features. Like maybe you've done a live video before and you want to maybe take a clip, maybe something that somebody said in that video and one sentence of it, for example, it allows you to trim it and create it as a new post. It allows you to create a post and do like what's called a watch party instead of going just live on Facebook, and you can upload a new video. So a video that you've created, you can upload it and then publish it as what's called a watch party, which will play it to all your viewers as you're live, but you're not technically live. You can still engage with them and comment as if it's live. It still sends out the notification to everyone like it's live, but you have a recorded video. So we've used that quite a few times with our content in order to play a video that maybe we had a lot of people, maybe participate in. Then we play it as what's called a watch party. Sorry, my computer's a little slow here, but we play it as a watch party. So we can schedule it even ahead of time, let everybody know that we're going live in this watch party, tag the people that are included in the video, and then it makes it go out a lot further than if you're just sharing a YouTube link, for example. So great way of standing out. The other thing with the about, just check your services. You can add your services in here. You can do a lot on your Facebook page. So I just encourage you to kind of take a look around. I'm going to give Kathy and Nicole a couple additional links. That's to the advanced messaging. That is to setting up whether you want to sell your products or services on Facebook, as well as to how to use the Creator Studio. So there's 3 additional videos there that are all just around Facebook that I think you guys would be able to take advantage of to kind of take your page to the next level. start sharing my screen here. All right, hopefully I got the questions answered. But if there are additional questions, of course I'm on Facebook, but I'm on all the socials, or you can, I'm gonna put the email address in here. You can email me. And we also are, can help you out with your marketing and getting your page set up, things like that as well.
Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate you being here with us today. And very good information as usual. It never ceases to surprise me of all your great work that you have the ability to do. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining us. Jessica did pop in her email address and things in the chat box for you. I will follow up with an email to remind everybody to do the business plan section 5, as Kathy had mentioned, and also the links that Jessica is going to send us along with a copy of the recording here in a couple days. So thank you, Jessica. I really appreciate you being here. And now I'm going to turn it over to Kathy real quick.
I also want to thank you, Jessica. Absolutely amazing. I learned a lot, and it's incredible. And I'm sure that our participants feel the same way. And there have been some very good questions asked. So with that, I would like to inform all of the participants about the wonderful arrangement that we have made. So the Small Business Development Center has received an additional grant as a result of the CARES Act that was passed in March. And so we are able to contract for some of the things that will help our small businesses who are feeling the effects of the economic impact from COVID-19. And Jessica is one of those. And so if you are interested in working with Jessica, basically our grant will pay for the services she provides to you within a certain segment of time. Please give me a contact, or I'm sorry, please contact me, and I will put you in touch with Jessica, and you will then become a mutual client of ours to help you reach those social media goals. So we're super excited to have this relationship with Jessica and really look forward to the things that are going to happen. So with that, I look forward to seeing you all back next week, which will be the 4th week into the series. And Nicole, can you remind me, we are talking about finances, if I recall.
That is true. And we will hear from a guest speaker. We will be talking about Financial Accounting 101, and we will hear from guest speaker E.B. Ojo with Fortune Accounting. She will be joining us next week. A lot of good information there as well. And I just want to remind everybody that if you haven't sent your business plan to Kathy for review, please do so. That way she can give you feedback. Her services are free, and I plugged in her email address in the chat bar for you as well in regards to that.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you. Is there any questions before we go tonight? Okay, well, everyone have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Jessica. And we'll see you all back here next week.
Thank you, Nicole. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Have a good rest of your week.
You too.